Hey, good afternoon, Max.
Yeah.
Hey, what's going on, dude? Dave Lawrence at Hawaii Public Radio,
Hey, how you doing, man? Yeah, where are you calling from?
Honolulu.
Oh, okay, cool, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, and really stoked to get to talk to you. All right, today, very special guest joining us on member-supported Hawaii Public Radio. Very excited because the 10th album from Soulfly is out, Archangel, and Max Cavalera is the singer and guitarist, and he was in Sepultura, and he's on the line now. Max, am I pronouncing both your last name and Sepultura's name correctly?
Yeah, everything good, man. How you doing, brother?
God bless you, man. Good to talk to you. Thank you for taking some time. I'm doing good. Yourself?
Good, yeah. Just waiting for the tour to start. You know, we're going to kick off in the end of the month. We start practicing next week. And, yeah, just be itching to get out of here and get back on that road.
And even though you have that beautiful Brazilian Portuguese accent, you're located in Phoenix, yeah?
Yeah, we live in Phoenix.
And so when you're itching to get out of there, you're going to go. And how much prep? You talk about there's a little bit of lead in before the tour, and I want to get back to your fascinating heritage in a moment. But you're when you say that you got to get ready for the tour, there's a little rehearsal. What's involved with preparing for it? How, like, if you paint a picture, how many weeks, how many hours a day, what kind of prep?
We probably will do, I'll do a whole next week with my son, Zion, just me and him, going through a lot of the set list. And then the week after that, we get the other guys in the band. We get Mark and Mike here, and then we go over the whole set, like for 4 or 5 days. Just get it real tight, and then get ready to get on the road. And we're trying to play a lot of stuff from the new album. The original plan was to play the whole record, but I think now there's 1 or 2 songs that we can't play. But we're going to play everything else. So looks pretty good. We're very excited.
Oh, that's kind of cool, though. What you're saying is by this exploration and working on stuff, you were able to figure out that there were a few tunes that once you started practicing them, you were like, I don't think we can get this into the set.
Yeah, it's mostly the song with Matt from King Parrot. His voice is very different from mine. And I don't think I can duplicate that. We can do the one from Todd, Sodomites. That one I can probably get away with it. Like with the Rise of the Fallen that has Greg from the Linger Escape Plan. I normally play that song and do Greg's parts. Sometimes it works and sometimes doesn't. But everything else we can play, like most of the record, which is killer, and I never play so many new songs like that ever before. So we're looking forward to that. I think that's going to be great. And we have a stage set up that has like these 2 banners on the side that has the Archangel Michael on each side. So that's going to look really cool. And we're very excited. I think it's a great bill. Both of the tours. The first one has Decapitated, Soilwork, and Shatter the Sun. And the second one has Shatter the Sun, Insight, and Crowbar. And so we're very thrilled to be on both tours.
I love listening to your voice, man. Out here in Honolulu, we've got a real big Portuguese population. It's part of the culture here. As you know, it's a real melting pot in Hawaii. And Max,
yeah, I played Hawaii with Sepultura years and years ago.
I was gonna say you have your own. I was about to say you have your own experience here, so you already know some of this. But Max, do me a what would be the nice Portuguese welcome and thank you? What would you say? How's the words for that?
Welcome is bem-vindo. And thank you is obrigado.
So say, okay, hit me both of those together.
Bem-vindo e obrigado.
That sounds so cool, dude. That's very cool. I like it. Now, does Brazilian Portuguese sound different than the other places? Like I mentioned, they speak it here. It's obviously in Portugal. They're different places. Does it sound different around the world?
Yeah, Brazil has its own way of a lot of slangs, and every part of Brazil has its own dialect, so the north speaks one way, the south speaks another way, the middle of Brazil speaks different, and, there's some words I don't even know. Sometimes I hear some, like, I don't know what the word is,
That's cool.
But it's great, and we kind of, almost like we alter the Portuguese. The Portuguese that's spoken in Portugal is much more classic. The Brazilian Portuguese is more street kind of a lot of slangs, you know. So it's more kind of like coming from the streets type of language. But it's great, you know. I think it's really cool. I love every chance I get to talk to somebody in Portuguese. I don't miss the opportunity. And of course, I speak with my brother all the time.
What about
when I'm doing Cavalera?
What about your kids?
Hang out. Yeah, they know a little bit. You know, they know some cuss words.
But what you're saying is it's kind of like Spanish too. How Spanish in Spain would be very different than in Puerto Rico, perhaps Mexico, etc.
Exactly.
Right. No, I get you. That's what I was curious. If it was and forgive me if I don't have the pronunciation wrong, but I'm going to go out on a limb and try it. Belo Horizonte.
Yeah, it's my hometown.
But am I saying it right? Is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
That's okay. You know, when I was a kid, John McLaughlin, one of my very favorite guitar players, he has that record Belo Horizonte. So that's how I learned how to.
Oh, he does a record called that?
Yeah, it was a long time ago. And knowing that you're a fine guitar player yourself, maybe you invest in a copy of that, and you'll.
Yeah, man. You know, when I was a kid growing up, I had a teacher in Brazil that showed me like my first things, like the first chords and how to play the guitar, and he was totally obsessed with John McLaughlin. You know, that was like his hero. You know, and he was always telling me about him and stuff. And of course, I was lazy and never pick it up and never listen to it. But I might give it a try to check out that record. That sounds cool.
Yeah, well, that record is a mellower record, keep in mind, but there are heavier ones like the Mahavishnu Orchestra that he did that you would probably really dig because of the heavy kind of jams that you play. But Belo Horizonte is a great one to start. It's a good one at night when you're just chilling out. And
that's cool. I'm gonna check it out for sure.
God bless you, brother. I love hearing that. And you mentioned it, and it's a cool thing. Soulfly is such a family affair. Now, you didn't say both kids, so I'm gonna make sure I don't have everything incorrect. When I was reading, it sounded like Igor and Zion were working with you.
Well, Zion is the drummer, yeah. So he's officially in the band, and this is his second record with us, and he did great. And I love playing with him. He's kind of a wild animal on the stage. He's kind of out of control, and I love that about him. It's all about the energy with him, and he keeps it up every night, and it's great. Igor did the European tour with us playing bass because Tony left to Fear Factory. But for the American tour, we have Mike from Havoc join us, so Igor is not going to be on that tour. But he's in the Archangel video that we did. And it's coming out now on 360, actually. It's a new system that they filmed, and you can actually change with your finger and change the angle of the cameras with your own finger on your phone. And it's kind of a complete new thing they never done before in metal. We did a video with that, so that's coming out any day now, and Igor is on that one. So yeah, we're full on metal family. Everybody works with the band. Gloria is my wife and manages the band, and most of the kids work with us. Richie sells T-shirts. He also sings for Insight. Jason, he does drum roll for Zion. So yeah, everybody works for the band. One way or another. It's a full on metal family, and I love it.
That probably, and I don't know all of the ins and outs of relationships with other bands, but I was in my own mind thinking how cool it was. It scored kind of like an Allman Brothers of metal in some ways, the Cavalera brothers, if you will. But then you took it another whole level. What you're talking about is when you mentioned the T-shirts, when you mentioned the roadie position. If you step back and look at this, and your wife, I mean, what an amazing thing. You've got. How blessed can a person be to have surrounded himself with his greatest professional aspiration by having his family a part of it?
It's pretty awesome, man. We wanted that from the beginning. When I first, because Zion's, when he was born, his heartbeat opened Chaos AD, which I recorded when he was inside his mother's belly still, so he was already part of history without even knowing. And those kids grow up on tour, and I have pictures of Zion and Igor sleeping on guitar cases with Ozzy singing in the background, and that's been their life. It's been on the road, and I was like hoping that they'll get into metal and they'll become musicians one day. And the time went on, and they got good at it, practicing a lot. And they're very talented, man. And they got their own band too, Lodi Kong, which is a kick-ass band. I love it. They're kind of a mix of like Pantera and Nirvana. So it's really weird, really different from everything that's being done right now. And they got their own thing going. And so we all have our kind of our projects, but everybody also really loves Soulfly and love working for Soulfly, which is like the main band here. So it's great. I think it's kind of a dream of mine with Gloria to have the kids be involved with what we are doing, and they are now. So mission accomplished. So I feel very blessed.
Yeah, and you should. I mean, so mission accomplished. They really to set out and have that as a goal is outstanding. Because I know what you mean. Because a kid who's exposed to that might very well decide he doesn't want anything to do with that and go in a whole different direction.
And could it happen?
Right, it could have absolutely, but instead they rally.
I'm glad they love. Especially Igor. Igor is so into a lot of the same stuff I listen to. It's crazy. Like, he tells me about bands that I should listen to, and I go check them out, and I end up loving them. Stuff like Full of Hell and Genocide Pact and Homewrecker, and those are all Igor's. He knew all those bands before I knew them, and he's like, you got to check these guys out.
How?
And I'll go check them out, and they just blow me away how cool they are.
I think that's a great bond because literally what he's in some ways it's a musical conversation you're sharing because it was you, I'm assuming, and your career that launched them as musicians. And when you step away from the business side of it and just talk about like thinking about your family and having that, like I used the word musical conversation, is there something extra special for you that you can interact with them when you play and to be able to look over and realize that you're speaking to each other with music? It's a bond that in a lot of ways does go far beyond just having a regular father-son relationship.
Yeah, it is kind of separate, like with especially with Zion working with Soulfly. I really pushed him on this last record. I had to because I wanted him to deliver more than what I thought he did on Savages, because I knew he was a better drummer than that. And live, he's exceptionally amazing. And we haven't really captured that energy that he has live on the record. And then we did it on Archangel. I told Matt Hyde about it, and I explained to Matt that Zion is the kind of drummer that is all about the energy, and it's kind of a wild beast that you have to capture that. And we work very hard on that. So, and I think we capture. And I don't think Zion really enjoyed the sessions very much of the making of Arcane because we really work him, man. Some of the nights he was drained. After that was done, he had no energy for anything else. He just went back to the hotel and passed out. But it was for his own good because it kicks ass. The album kicks ass now, and I think now he's a better drummer than he's ever been. So in the end, it works out for him. But what I'm saying is that when I was there in the studio with him, I was not really being his dad. I was more of a musician. It's like I talked to him like a band member, like I talked to Mark. So I had to put the father thing on the side, and all right, I'm not his dad now. I'm a musician. I want him to play this shit right, make it, everybody got to step up the plate for this record. And you have to do that from time to time, kick your own ass and kick everybody's ass so the thing moves forward.
And that's really that's really a testament to, this era of your life with Archangel shows that you've kind of, to get to where you are, you need to have that drive, that tenacity, and a lot of determination that does require compartmentalizing, I think is what you're talking about, Max, taking, making sure you realize that's my kid, but at the same time, this is my record. And it's
you can't have the easy way out. He tried to, there's a part on Archangel that has a lot of double bass, and he tried to get out of it. Like, hey, Matt and Max, let me show you how to do it. I'll do it with without the double bass, and he did. it sucked. It wasn't. We'll put the double bass back in. Even though you hate it and it's killing you, it's best for the song.
Right.
So we told him he had to keep it like that. So I've been called kind of a dictator in the studio a little bit. It doesn't bother me because I'm just a kind of a perfectionist. I want the shit to be right. I want the stuff to sound good, to sound killer. I don't take the easy way out. I don't go for that. To make it right, sometimes it comes with a sacrifice and a price, and I'm willing to pay it for that to make a good record. And I think that's how I was able to make such good records like Arise, Chaos AD, Nail Bomb, Soulfly 1, Prophecy. But because of their own self-judgment, that you have to go the extra mile. And I try to pass that to the musicians to feel the same way. And so when we're all in the studio, we're pushing each other. And that's why when we have a good producer like Matt Hyde, the stuff really comes to life. I believe this album, Archangel especially, Matt Hyde was amazing producer on it and really push everybody forward, especially me with the vocals and the biblical ideas. It was a new territory for me. I didn't really know exactly what to do with this, and he really guided me in the studio to point me in the right direction. And now I think is a very focused album because of that.
On the spiritual side of you, and both your origins, I'm hearing two things there. Like, one, you grow up in a really tough part of the world, and I'm hoping you can shed some light on what it was like being a young person there for someone like myself who didn't grow up in there. I grew up in the Philadelphia area, so I really don't know what Belo Horizonte was like, and I can hear all this tenacity that is built up into you that has driven your career, but at the same time that you hear that, there's the spiritual side. You said it in the beginning, Archangel Michael, and I hear it now. If you can take us through the spiritual journey you're on and how it's important to you and what you want to share with folks.
Yeah, well, Brazil is very, it's kind of like, I think my best description is like a deadly flower. It's very beautiful, but it's deadly at the same time. You get too close, it might kill you. So I think it's kind of like that. It's very beautiful country and amazing nature and all that, but it's very dangerous too, with all the death squad and corrupt police and violence and crime and drugs. So all that is very present too. So that was all part of our growing up, and I think that's why we got into metal, was because we were really poor and hating the works we were doing and being a third world, and metal was like the perfect music, was like our escape. And little I know that metal will become my salvation, because we could have went into drugs or crime, and we went into music and saved us, And as far as the spiritual thing, that's something I've always been close to because of my mother. She's a kind of a high priest on her religion, Candomblé, and it's an African Brazilian religion which deals with a lot of the spiritual world, people being possessed and talking in different languages and stuff like that. And since I was a kid, I've always been exposed to that because of her, and I always liked that. So, and I've always been fascinated by history, and especially the Bible and Old Testament and things like that. So for me, making this record, Archangel, which came from my mother, that was her idea. She told me that this year was the year of the Archangel Michael, and not many people knew about this, so I thought it was a really cool insight that she had. So I decided to make the album for him and name it Archangel, and having the Michael Archangel on the cover. So yeah, it's very close to home, for me. But even though some of the topics are very dark, like Sodomites, about the destruction of Sodom, Bethlehem's blood is about the killing of the infants in Bethlehem, and there's some Babylonian themes like Shamash is the sun god of Babylon, and Ishtar Rising, she's the goddess of old Babylon. I love a lot of that history stuff, man. It's my favorite thing is like reading about history, things like that. And I finally got to put some of that in the record, and I think it's kind of open a door. I think now Soulfly can do more of that if we want to, It's kind of an open door, and I think it's kind of cool. It's like it gives more choices now. We can make more records similar to this, and be very cool records, because it was a lot of fun making this record. A lot of discovery for me on the words and reading the Old Testament and making into metal, combining them together. Everything really was a learning experience, and I think Archangel came out really good. It came out better than I expected. It exceeded the expectations I had for this record. So I think it's awesome that we got to do that on a 10th album. Not many bands can do that on their 10th record, so I think we succeed on that part.
A lot of it is both musically, like you're describing, an evolution, and it does allow a lot of other channels. I love how you describe that as a thing that opens up if you want to go into other places. But I also, as a final note, I guess I look at it like through you indicated you did some research to prepare for it, and
I read a lot and watched a lot of documentaries, and you kind of have to go deep. And then I was really lucky because Matt High loves the stuff and loves the whole biblical stuff. We knew a whole lot about that, and he even helped me in a song like Archangel, some Kabbalah ritualistic words in it, and we found the beginning. There's a prayer in Amorite, which is the language of Jesus, in the name of Jesus. So we put a prayer in the beginning of the song. And he did all the effects between songs. All the sounds sound like apocalyptic, really biblical. He was like the perfect guy. And he had mixed Behemoth, Satanist, which is an album that I totally love. And I think it's very close to what Archangel is, even though it is called Satanist and everything. But there's some stuff on it like Blow Your Trumpet, Gabriel, that's totally up my alley. You know, it's like very, very... very biblical and very, very spiritual at the same time. So I think he was the perfect guy for this album, and we worked together really good and got excited, and I did some chantings that I never done before. So he even motivated me to do things with my voice that I never done before. So Matt was the perfect. We had a really good team, and Matt for the production, and Eli Rand for the cover, because I love the album cover. I think the image of the Saint Michael with the Soulfly wings and the weapon of the Archangel made into the Soulfly symbol, it was perfect. So I think that this album cover goes so good with the music. And when you can manage that, which is not all the time the case, a lot of times the cover doesn't really match the music, and it kind of feels a little bit left off. One of the examples for that, I think, is Killer BQ, because I'm not real big on the cover of Killer BQ. I don't like it very much. But I was not involved on that too much. That was more the other guys. I got to be involved on the Archangel, and I think it's one of my favorite album covers.
Do you feel like it's brought you spiritually closer to God, and that you've been able to learn from the things that you researched?
I think so, man. You know, I think in my own way, I think even just making the record for in tribute to Archangel Michael and knowing what he's all about, and making that cover, which I think is a very powerful cover, and we're going to have the banners now in two sides of the stage with the image of the Archangel. I think all that helps. You know, when you're playing live, you look at those images and they give you power, they give you energy. You know, that's been my whole. In Sepultura, we had some cool backdrops like that back in the day. The Arise days, we had some stuff that looked like Vietnamese statues of faces, and you kind of get your energy and your vibes from those things, from those images. Those help you perform better and get you more in the mood of the concert. So I hope this Archangel image will be great for the Soulfly tour.
Well, I'm really proud of you. I'm grateful to get to talk to you today, and it's been a lot of learning on this end. Max Cavalera.
Right on, man. Hello, everybody. This is Max Cavalera from Soulfly. You're listening to my friend David Lawrence on Hawaii Public Radio. Stay metal.
Hey, brother.
All right.
God bless you. I had a lot of fun talking. I hope this was this an okay interview? Did you enjoy?
Yeah, man. Very good.
Be safe, and I really look forward to seeing you out in Hawaii. We'll have you in the studio. Take care of you. Maybe do a little unplugged thing if you can make your way out here.
Yeah, sounds good, man. Hope we can come on next year.
Be safe, Max. Travel safe.
Take care, man.
Aloha.